match that looked like someone was tripping on something illegal. What was in the water that made that match happen? We have a new WWE champion. We have a new WWE Universal champion. We have a crying Edge winning a big return match. We have so much to get into after night 2 of WrestleMania. Too big for one night. Oh man, there's so many commercials I'm going to start quoting in here, but we have a lot to talk about, and your comments on screen. I'm Kevin Kellam. Joining me, Robert DeFelice from where WrestleMania was supposed to be this year, Tampa, Florida. Robert, you missed me. You didn't get to see my beard in person.
I didn't get to see your beard in person. I haven't seen too much of anybody in person, but that's okay. Social distancing, which 24/7 challengers don't give a shit about, but that's okay.
Joining us over the Mid-Atlantic, the editor-in-chief of WrestleZone, a man who's been very, very busy this weekend, sending a lot of messages to everyone on the staff. The captain of the ship, Bill Pritchard, boss man, Bill Pritchard, boss man. I know your future women's tag team champions at home were a fan of some matches on the card tonight.
They were very happy that the Queen of Wrestling won tonight.
Yeah.
Even when Rhea Ripley made her entrance, one of them was like, "Oh, she's cool. I want to be like her." But then at the end of the night, it was like, "Oh yeah, the Queen won. We're good."
We're good. The Queen. Charlotte's just the Queen. I like that they don't have to know her name. They just know, oh, that's Queen. The Queen.
I literally, when that was over, I had to tell people, you never bet against the Queen. I don't care what the circumstances are. You don't bet against the Queen. She's golden.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys thought of the show. Let us know what your takes are on this year's WrestleMania, what you liked, what you didn't like, what popped your interest in terms of what you enjoyed on the card here. And if you're with us live on Facebook, don't forget to share the link. You guys enjoy the show. I see a lot of regular names. We see a lot of people. If you're with us for the first time, get your comments on screen. This is a virtual show. We have the most interactive content in all of wrestling media, and we're really, really proud of that. It's not just us talking at you, it's you talking with us. But let's get into it. This is a the billing, I think, delivered. If you were expecting a unique presentation over 2 nights, and we'll talk about both nights, mostly night 2 tonight, but was this the most unique WrestleMania? That was something we heard quite a bit on commentary, in the presentation, in the marketing. Once WWE kind of went all in on no fans being there and trying some risky things, did the billing of unique deliver? Bill?
Unique, yes. Too big for one night? I don't know. There was like at least 4 matches that didn't even need to be on either night. But, overall, like, I was pleasantly surprised with everything in general. Once you get past, no fans except for the ceiling fan.
That was the one fan that got to be at the show, was the ceiling fan. Yeah. Robert, your take, was it unique enough for you?
It was. By the time we got into night 2, I was pretty good with the no fans setup. I didn't find it to be jarring by tonight. And I think they did a lot of unique takes that really helped them get over the issue of not having any fans.
Mm-hmm. Timothy Plain texting in here. Thank you for joining us for the first time, Tim, saying he enjoyed it. He thought it was a very, very good show. Vernon texting saying the WWE Championship was all finishers, no punches, no kicks, except Drew's Claymore. We'll get into other takes, and if you're with us for the first time, don't be afraid to get your comments here on screen. Joey Anderson texting in saying, loved it. I feel so bad for the performers. A lot of great moments that couldn't be in front of people. How much did no fans hurt the show, and how much did no fans add to it? What do you think, Bill?
There were a few matches where they really, really needed like some crowd noise or something piped in, but honestly, overall, the main event matches or the featured matches, like Edge Orton tonight, Drew Brock, stuff like that, really didn't need it because I thought they did a good job of mapping it out. But I was really taken out of the Raw tag team match.
Yeah.
Street Profits and Garza and what was his name? But
Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, some of those, like, I was really, really taken out of it. And then on the flip side of it, like, they opened up with the NXT women's title match, and usually that's where you get the crowd into it and give them like a really like hot match, and they laid it out perfectly. Like you didn't really miss it at all. Like they hit all the beats, did what they needed to, and I feel like overall it was successful. They took advantage of the situation that they had.
Well, let's get into it. Night 2, we'll touch on night 1 as well. A lot of comparisons between night 1 and night 2, and you do have that immediately. This is a different, it's different enough for no fans. It's different enough on top of that to have it over 2 nights. A lot of people join us for the first time once, and don't be afraid of getting those comments on screen. If you're watching on demand, we'll also be responding to you. But let's get into the big matches from night 2. Firefly Funhouse, John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. This was a completely pre-filmed, highly edited, almost cinema verite match. They said it would be cinematic. It was a lot more pre-shot, edited circumstances than even the Boneyard match, which came on night 1. Boneyard match felt like Roadhouse with The Undertaker, all shot on one set. I loved it. The response to that was probably overwhelmingly positive. A lot of fans liked how much it just showed off a mixture of everything Undertaker in one match, and it played to the strengths of Undertaker, and also allowed AJ Styles to be, a real heel who got what was coming to him. Tonight, though, you got a match that really laid into Bray Wyatt and this whole pre-film vignette thing. He already is that. He's a pre-shot character who's so heavy on everything almost outside of the ring, where the match is quite secondary. Do you think that was a good thing or a bad thing? Me, I enjoyed the Boneyard match more. I thought it delivered on, let's do something, film it differently, but let the simplicity of it deliver. I thought they tried a lot of different things. I enjoyed it, but to me, it's high risk maneuver. You jump off the top rope. Sometimes you don't hit everything. This was good. This was an RBI. It wasn't great, and I was hoping for something great. It fell just significantly short of what I was expecting.
You say it was just an RBI. I think they knocked it out of the park. Let me be straight. It wasn't a match. It was a straight up vignette. But it was fun, and they did a lot of things that I wouldn't have expected them to do. It was basically a fever dream for John Cena inside the mind of Bray Wyatt. John Cena got to wear his 2002 babyface trunks, which was a sight to see in his current state of physique. Bray Wyatt throwing out the you can look but you can't touch. That's a little awkward given everything that's going on. John Cena turned heel. And they made it clear that it was like Hollywood Hogan, but you can see Cena taking out his frustrations of losing to Brock, losing to Randy. So they played on things, but now I'm left asking what's next for John, and I don't know if we're getting any more from John Cena.
Bill, is this the last we've seen of John Cena in the WWE for some time? He's got the full-on movie career. He's going to have another Fast and the Furious movie coming out at some point. All that's delayed. But, him in WWE is quite rare over the last few years. We got a little bit of him at last year's WrestleMania, a little bit of him this year. He certainly seemed to be invested in what he did this year. Is this the send-off of John Cena for a significant period of time?
Yes, but I think that comes with conditions because of what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much he was going to be around before all this happened, So, I mean, I'm thinking he's going to be around for SummerSlam in some capacity. Like, I made a comment in one of our group chats the other day. Like, I can almost guarantee Cena's going to be in a title match or going to win one of the titles at SummerSlam. It's in Boston. He's from the area.
Potentially a return for WWE in front of live audiences.
Yes. Even bigger stage now than it was. It was just SummerSlam, that already has its own hype. Now it's potentially going to be the first major event for WWE in front of a live crowd.
Oh, and we'll get into that. We'll get into what's going to happen with WWE Live. We'll touch on that within the show here. But you're right. That'd be a really great thing here. People texting in saying they loved the appearance of the McBoss Man puppet in the Firefly Funhouse. Tom Ferguson saying Ruthless Vince was hilarious. Tommy Gilligan. They did a lot of fan service in this Funhouse match. You had the NWO throwbacks. You had the throwback to the Ruthless Aggression stuff. They, of course, brought up that infamous line that John Moxley said that Vince said to him about doing some caca cuckoo comedy segment about poop, saying this is such good shit. And we got the puppets on commentary. I mean, it was out there. It was weird. For me, it was certainly good, but I didn't think it was WrestleMania great. But a lot of people love it, so who cares? Maybe I'm just in the minority on this.
Johnny Large Meat. They called him Johnny Large Meat for a good portion of this, and I think that is just fantastic.
I also like to embrace it. You just use people's weaknesses for jokes. Like what?
Is that like John Morrison's new name? Like, did I miss something?
Hey, how big is John Morrison's? We'll stop there. How big is that?
No, that's Batista.
Nothing's bigger than Batista. Nothing's bigger than Batista. Oh, yeah, we're having some fun here. If you're having fun, hit that like button, guys, if you're enjoying the show. I'm having a lot of fun here. Before we move on to everything outside of the Firefly Funhouse, something we've been doing that's fun. There's no March Madness this year, Bill Pritchard, but there is March Mania. This has been your brainchild, a tournament of the top theme songs in wrestling. You can vote on our Instagram and our Twitter. How we doing? Tomorrow we'll start another round of this. Yes,
and I have to give credit to Dom that this is kind of like his baby. So Dom was driving the car. I was just a passenger. But yeah, we're gonna do the Elite Eight, if you want to call it that. I don't know if we can because the NCAA doesn't like us using their term.
Or AEW doesn't want us to use it. They'll give us a cease and desist.
Well, I thought of that. I was like, wait, we're going down to the Elite Eight. I'm like, oh, shit. None of the AEW songs made it. And I was like...
That's all right.
Cody Rhodes and Undisputed Era, I kind of backed myself into a corner with that one. Because I was like, oh, yeah, it'll be like a Wednesday Night War matchup. This will be fun. And I was like, wait, not going to be that much fun. But... yeah, we have some good matches tomorrow. We have Edge against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who do we have? NWO against Ric Flair.
That's a hard one.
CM Punk and Aleister Black.
I'm going CM Punk all day. Living color, cult of personality.
Kane and DX.
That's a hard one. I think Kane has a very underrated theme song. Very
far from the opera. Very.
Yeah. I always like the Finger 11 version with the lyrics.
Yeah, I enjoy that one.
Everybody's like, oh no, this one's like he had so many different mixes, and everybody's like, I like this one. I'm like, well, I just picked the general instrumental one, but there's a lot of people voting for Kane. I was surprised.
All right, let's get back to WrestleMania, guys. We did have a big title change. We had a title change. We have two new world champions in WWE. Almost, if you look at this objectively, not actually looking at match by match, reminds me a little bit of WrestleMania 21, when it felt like we were flipping the script and we were going with two big new world champions. Braun Strowman defeated Goldberg in a pretty underwhelming match last night that was heavily driven by finishers. Wow. History repeats itself the next day.
It's so unique.
Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre fought each other at the end of the match. A short affair, bang, bang, bang. And Drew kicks out of 3 or 4 F5s, and then hits him with several claymores, even one when he was on his knees, and defeats Brock Lesnar, becoming the new WWE champion. Clean in the middle. Paul Heyman, a real MVP in this, selling it at ringside. And Drew McIntyre corrects the course, becomes the man he was chosen to be, and only took him 10 years to do it, and leaving WWE and coming back to it. Certainly this is a crowning moment for him. I know we had some fans in Scotland texting in here saying that they were enjoying this. Big moment for him, but did the match not have that specialness because it has no fans? I mean, there's some matches here that were, I think, influenced by having no fans, and other matches that kind of were didn't have that same oomph. I think Drew not having this moment in a stadium, Edge not having that big return and walkout in a stadium, you can't deny that. They can't change that. What did you think of Drew winning the title off Brock, Robert?
I thought it was. This was the part where the no fans hurt me. Like,
yeah,
Drew deserved a big moment with people, but he did it right. He did the whole, I'm gonna touch the screen and you could feel this moment with me. First British champion, so that's pretty badass.
He is definitely. I didn't even think of that too.
He's the first British champion ever. Raw tomorrow night should be a lot of fun. We know it's pre-taped, but that doesn't mean that they're not bringing the fire. Maybe there's a new champion already if we don't even know who it is. Wrestling is weird right now, guys.
Everything's weird right now, Robert.
Everything is.
Yeah, that's true too. We're focused on wrestling. We're focused on putting smiles on faces, guys.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, there's that tag again.
Bill, your take here. Drew's the new champion. I didn't love the match. What did you think of it?
I mean, the match itself, whatever. It's kind of like Brock's match now. It's either he destroys somebody in seconds, or it's finisher spamming them from both sides until somebody gets pinned. We kind of saw that in the match with Seth Rollins last year. It's just, I kind of expect it, so I can't really be disappointed, or I can't really knock them for it when it's kind of like the formula now. The main thing I was missing. You're over it?
Yeah, I'm over the Brock Goldberg. Let's do the finisher 5 times. Hey, wasn't that so crazy? I'm over that. Move on now.
You thought it was redundant?
I'm not. But I agree with you, but I'm saying I'm not disappointed in it, because if I was expecting something more than that, like a 12-minute match or even 9 or 10 minutes, then I would be disappointed. But we've seen this so many times where, I was like, okay, this is the way it's going to go down. It's going to be boots to the face and suplexes, and then somebody's going to win.
There was some realism to it. Yeah.
But I missed the pyro after Drew won, because you usually get the point at the sign, and that moment. I don't really think the lack of fans bothered me as much, but the pyro was missing. And in general, I'm actually kind of surprised that they went through with the title switch, because similar to Becky Lynch keeping the title, I feel like now you have this uncertainty where you don't know how long you're going to be on TV. We don't know what they have filmed, so you don't really know how long you have to build Drew as the champion, because yes, he's been on TV, he got the big push, but being champion and being the face of the brand is a completely different thing.
So I want to get into this. Ben Cliff saying Drew versus Brock is what it needed to be. I enjoyed the match, made them both look strong, and Brock staying on the ring on the mat after the finishing move showed a great sign of respect to Brock. I'll give this, people talk about Brock not showing up for matches and showing up for other ones. Brock made Drew look like $1 million. It wasn't. I'll say this: of the 2 big title matches for the men this weekend, this was significantly better. I don't want to take anything away from Drew's moment. This is a guy who's worked his ass off to get here. Certainly, I think the universal idea is that you could believe Drew McIntyre could hang with his size, with his skill, with his charisma, and with his moves, defeat Brock. It was believable. So I didn't hate it. But it was definitely I just want a little bit more. And also night 1 was so fun. So there were some expectations. That is the challenge of doing one show into one night here. Let's talk about that. 2 nights of WrestleMania. Did you like that? I loved it. If this is the future of WrestleMania, I'm on board. If I even have to, if I go to another WrestleMania live again, this is how I would want to experience it. 2 nights in a row in a stadium, 3.5-hour show each night. I'm down for that. I think that actually serves the presentation. You can do more with the undercard talent. You don't have matches that get underserved. And hey, if you're going to tell me that fans aren't going to travel in for something like that, and WWE's already doing 4 or 5 nights in one city, that this isn't doable, who knows? What do you think? 2 nights of WrestleMania in the future? Do you want to see more of it, Robert?
I don't. This worked out really well, but they made it real clear that this only happened because of the circumstances. They would have to completely shift their entire schedule, and I think that it's not worth it. Even though, like, I loved that last night ended at 10 o'clock. That was a beautiful thing. I wish I could have more of that and have WrestleMania in one night, but I don't think we get more than one night moving forward.
Bill?
I'd like to see it continue. Mm-hmm. Like, I really enjoyed, like, both nights being done by 10:30, and I already commented on this earlier, but, like, there's a lot of moving parts and logistics they would have to figure out. But the main thing I took away is it worth putting, is it worth getting rid of TakeOver on this weekend?
Mm-mm.
And some people will say no, but at the same time, it's like, Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley didn't need to be on this show. Natty versus Liv Morgan didn't need to be on this show. And there's 2 other matches, maybe 3, didn't need to be on this show. And it's like, well, why not replace them with a Ciampa versus Gargano or, something that they're building multiple months for? Like, why not try to do that? And they already announced plans for Los Angeles next year, so I don't know how much they'd actually have to move around.
True.
But, I mean, I feel like there was enough people that enjoyed the 2-night event this time around that they're going to at least try to do it again.
And if they don't do it on a WrestleMania, I think they'll do it with a different event. I mean, I could see a 2-night Royal Rumble with the women's Rumble on one night and the men's Rumble on the next. I could see them doing something like that at SummerSlam. I mean, there's a chance with WrestleMania specifically next year in a stadium that's 100,000 seats. That's a big marketing push. You're not just selling one ticket. You're selling 2 tickets to one person. What is that? How does that affect ticket prices? How do you affect a ticket bundle? I can tell you somebody works adjacent to the ticketing agencies. Like the way a Lollapalooza is sold, a 4-night festival, is the scale of it is double. And I mean that in marketing. I mean that in ticket servicing. I mean that in charges, your partnerships, your sponsorships. I will say this in terms of the media side of things, and once again, working in media stuff outside of this, there was a lot of ads tonight. There was a lot of people that came up and said, we want to buy our way into WrestleMania. You had Hyundai. You didn't just have the Snickers presenting sponsor. You had several different companies that understand. There's a lot of people that are confused right now, and there's this unique demand for a car service or a life insurance company. You saw a lot of that tonight. And WWE sales department stepped up tonight. You're going to pay attention to that. And in terms of when the world changes, media has to adjust to it. And WrestleMania is in a good position here. I think you saw a benefit of them saying, we're going to run first run content. We're going to keep putting out content. Everyone says that's risky. I'm seeing some money here on the other side of this that wasn't there maybe 3 weeks ago. But at the same time, WWE lost millions of dollars not having this event in front of fans. And Robert, your Florida lost millions of dollars not having this in fans. Robert, how much do you miss not seeing WrestleMania live this year?
Well, I've never seen it live, so I didn't really miss it. So I just, watched it from home like I usually do. I do disagree with you on the ads thing. I think those are ads you just would have seen on the other hour of the kickoff, but it was non-existent, so it was sprinkled throughout the show. I think these ads were in place.
Yeah, and you thought they were in bad taste?
I didn't think that they were in bad taste. I thought they were in place. Like I thought they were going to happen.
These were already going to be there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, I think they pop out in a different way. Like they didn't get dropped. They were still fulfilled. And I think when you can do WWE does something at WrestleMania in terms of putting in a sponsorship that can play into other things later on in the year. An ad agency is going to see WrestleMania and be like, ooh, there's something there. And they're going to, and also another thing is, Bill, you saw this tonight. WWE hit on social media tonight. They were half of the top 30 trending topics on Twitter tonight. Half. And that's millions upon millions of impressions. So what they lost in ticket sales, I think they kind of made up in other ways. That's an audience that may have been there already, but I wouldn't say this wasn't a loss in terms of attention. There's probably a lot of people watching wrestling for the first time in a long time tonight. You think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of new things going on. Like, obviously, the biggest one was Gronk. He's going to attract a different kind of audience. You have the Fox factor. So I think that's part of these ads coming in, because we've heard over the years about like NBC trying to help WWE attract different sponsors. And I think maybe the Fox angle played in here where I don't even know what the name of them are. The rolled up taquito things that we
The Takis?
yeah, Takis. So like we saw that, we saw Hyundai's, and then we saw credit check commercials and Ric Flair and Zack Ryder eating Snickers. So it's like it's not really geared towards one audience. It's not a wrestling audience unless everybody's like, I don't know what you would be checking your credit for right now. Like you're sitting at home, like your situation's is what it is right now. So
it is worth noting,
ways to make money, and they did.
Yeah. There was a unique presentation in terms of the marketing this year to get to WrestleMania, which is there is a different marketing push. You usually see a lot of guys on the late night talk shows or the daytime talk shows. A lot of those aren't filming in studios now. So I think ESPN scoring that big pickup the last few weeks of running old WrestleManias, which scored good cable ratings for them. And then today running a 5-hour block of Brock Lesnar programming. And then you saw FS1 say, hey, we're going to run it as a pay-per-view. And Fight TV, we're going to run it as a pay-per-view. And you're still on the network. So that, there's that what's going to happen to the WWE network conversation. But WWE is currently working with Disney through ESPN, NBC Universal with 2 weekly TV shows, and Fox with FS1 and Fox Network. They're working with 3 of the big of the big 5 media conglomerates while still owning their own content. Coming out of WrestleMania season, you could say they lost some money, but are we going to see more bigger checks cash for them in the future? They cashed 2 $1 billion ones last year. How much business are they going to make out of this with such a turbulent time? I think they're in a good spot here.
I think we're going to see them go back to Saudi Arabia again.
Yeah.
That's a big check.
They probably took a very huge hit for this show, and you can't really fault them because everybody's dealing with it right now. But they're gonna figure out how they can get people back into stands when it's safe, and they're gonna try to make as much money as they can. Like, that's what you do. You're a business. You're a wrestling company. You're trying to make money while entertaining people. So this week will be very telling.
Yeah. Thomas Blair, WWE helps release stress from the pandemic and being stuck at home with the wife 24/7 with wife.
Come on, dude.
Hold on.
Worse.
Get in there, Robert.
First of all, you should marry people that you actually wouldn't mind being stuck with 24/7. Second of all, Bill, Saudi Arabia didn't pay them before the pandemic. You think they're going to pay them now? They haven't paid him yet.
Promises. I don't know.
Let's get back to WrestleMania.
They're going to want to make so much money that they're going to be like, oh, yeah. I guarantee you there's going to be either a talk or a report about Sting having a match in Saudi Arabia. Because that's how much they're going to be like, oh, shit, we took a really big hit. We're in the red. We need this.
We need that man called Sting.
It's Undertaker can wrestle again, right? Put him in there with Sting. We'll do it in the Sands of Time match. They're in the desert.
We're going to have a CGI Sting.
Royalties for dropping that right now?
No, we're totally fine. They don't know we exist.
Oh, God.
All right, let's get back to WrestleMania. Another moment on the undercard that was trending online. A lot of people were talking about. It's been built up on SmackDown. A lot of fans enjoy the comedy of this. The weird breakout character of 2020 for WWE that isn't a world champion. It is Otis. one half of the Heavy Machinery tag team. He's been chasing the blonde bombshell, Mandy Rose. He was supposed to have this date with her. This was sports entertainment to a T. Does the weirdo get the girl? And he got the girl. He fought Dolph Ziggler. He fought Dolph Ziggler tonight. Strong performance from Good. I also thought Otis looked good in a singles match. I thought he looked good in a singles match outside of the tag team environment. And he defeated Dolph Ziggler with help from Mandy Rose, who came down to the ring, Sonya Deville, who helped break up this couple and keep them from having their Valentine's date, and hook up Mandy Rose without Mandy knowing this was happening with Dolph Ziggler. And he gets to pick up the girl, and he gets the smooch. All right, love wins. Otis gets the girl. What did you think, Robert? I enjoyed it. I thought it was simple and fun. In terms of levity, this was one of those moments on the show.
You have moments during wrestling shows where you don't want to go away from the screen. And as soon as this came on, I said, well, damn, I guess I'm going to have to postpone that bathroom break. I wanted to see Otis get the girl. It was rushed because Mandy was just like, I'm over you, Sonya. Slap to the face, punch to the dick for Ziggler. And
Otis, he kicked him in the taint. He didn't get him in the balls. He got him in the taint. Otis's ass is too big.
Yeah, Otis. But Ziggler got a squirreled.
He gooched him.
Ziggler got a squirreled uppercut in the nads from Mandy. And the best thing was not only the kiss, but then they have a backstage segment on socials, and Mandy's just like, yeah, I think we need to go get some steaks. So, like, Otis gets steaks, he gets the girl. I want to be Otis. I never thought I'd leave a WrestleMania saying I want to be Otis, but I think I'd like to be Otis right now.
Oh, man.
I'm going to start putting on some mass.
Yeah.
I get steaks and a girl.
Yeah,
we had Hot Girl Summer. I think it's Big Boy Summer this year. You know,
the Big Boy Summer.
My dad bought me paying off.
Another big surprise. You mentioned the Street Profits versus the team of Angel Garza and Austin Theory. A pretty fine match. Nothing really strong. It had a tough time following Edge and Orton, which we will touch on. But the match was almost a precursor to the moment we got after it, and that is Bianca Belair, who is the real-life wife of Montez Ford of the Street Profits, one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions. They get the win, and Selena Vega, she's not having it. She's not having her guys, Theory and Garza, getting whomped on and losing this title. She won't have it. She had some cool, like, golden skulls on her gear, and she got in the ring and started whomping on it. Belair gets down to the ring and clears the ring, and then she's celebrating with the guys. Bianca Belair, is she part of Raw now?
She's a part of the Performance Center, and everybody's a part of the Performance Center. This is the hub. This is the hub of WWE superstars.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of Belair jumping in there? I enjoyed it. It certainly popped online.
It was awesome. It would have. We need the people. It needs the pop.
Mm-hmm. I liked it, but at the same time, everybody beforehand that was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get Bianca and Charlotte, was like collectively holding their breath, like, oh crap, we're gonna get a 6-man tag out of this at Money in the Bank, and it's like, like, good, good for them, like, they're doing the husband and wife thing again, but somebody else pointed out, like, okay, she can't challenge Charlotte for the NXT title, but she could go after Becky Lynch, which really, I didn't think of it at the time, but Bianca versus Becky really kind of has my interest. So let's see where they go. Charlotte winning really threw a wrench into things.
True. Let's get to this. The women had a strong showing over 2 nights. Becky Lynch and Shayna, I thought it was good. Wasn't great. I thought the SmackDown 5-way elimination match, it was good. I was hoping Lacey Evans would come in there, that maybe Sasha Banks would finally turn again on Bayley, but we didn't get that. Sasha helped her win. But for me, the women's match of the weekend was Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. They opened up night 2. They got a lot of time. Charlotte is proving herself. I know there's a lot of people. Bill, Robert, you guys see it. You guys watching all the time say this all the time. Why do they keep going with Charlotte? Woo! Why do they keep going with Charlotte? Woo! Because she's still one of the best wrestlers in the world. There is a sense of presence and calculation in what she does, her scrappiness, her ability to pull the best out of her opponents and get the most out of them to show off. And her winning tonight, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me now, but at the time I was like, wow. Because the NXT put a lot of time and effort into Rhea chasing that title and getting it. And now Charlotte Flair is the NXT Women's Champion again, and this puts her firmly on Wednesday nights. It was a great match. What do you think, Robert?
I thought this was the best no fans match across all brands so far. This was solid. Charlotte and Rhea know how to verbally trash talk. I think that was a strength of no fans shows, but Rhea was screaming, selling that knee injury. Some people told me that they didn't like that it was too overbearing, but I disagree.
Well, it's overbearing because you can hear it more. There's no fans,
That's fair. Yeah. I think that this is a strong contender for WrestleMania match of the year, but that's saying matches specifically in the ring. I think this was the strongest over the 2 nights. And
you thought it was the best match of the weekend?
For in the ring, because obviously the best match ever was that Boneyard match. But I like this. I thought it was real good.
Bill?
I got distracted. Check out John Cena's Instagram right now.
Oh, what is John Cena's Instagram right now? What is
pictures of Bray Wyatt and The Fiend and Husky Harris and what I think is Samoa Joe as the Tiger King right now. But it looks like Bray Wyatt took over John Cena's Instagram account, and it's like awesome.
Oh, this is great.
Tell me what you can see, guys. I'm running the system here. What do you see?
We've got I'd say about 16 pictures.
Of Bray Wyatt.
And one picture of AJ Styles' hand at WrestleMania.
There's got to be like 25 pictures of Bray Wyatt here.
Yeah, somebody just went mad. But this is fantastic.
Look at his Twitter. If he took over his Twitter, that's a big deal.
No, Twitter is John Cena's sacred place to give wisdom.
Yeah, his Instagram is weird. His Instagram is like
his Instagram is weird. Maybe he's just feeling it, but like his Twitter is sacred. He gives sage advice.
Yeah. I mean, they all say there's like a bunch from 4 hours ago, and then the AJ Styles hand was like last night, but the whole entire page is filled with pictures of Bray Wyatt. It's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
What was the other big
Charlotte and Rhea.
I loved it. I mean,
right?
It really was a good match. It was a good opener. It didn't need the fans. I again am a little surprised that Charlotte won. Like, I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but I'm surprised that there were as many title changes outside of Gronk, because of the situation that they're in. But I mean, this week is going to be a very important week of TV. So we'll see what they had, because you hear so many times they rewrote the show and Vince tore up the script and all this. Like,
you didn't get that chance this time.
Yeah, we have potentially the next week, or if you look at it as a whole, they had like 3 weeks of TV from when the situation broke out and when Tampa said they were going to, when they said that they were going to start ordering people to stay at home. So they've had like, this is like almost the best thing that could have happened to WWE, who constantly changes plans at the last second. But at the same time, it's going to be like, okay, how much do they actually have? And are they going to set things up for when they resume? Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot up in the air, but I'm very excited to see. Like, I haven't looked forward to this. Like, I haven't looked forward to a Raw in this long, even with it being the Raw after Mania.
I'll throw it out there right now.
Let's get into that, Robert. What do we think's happening here? because you and I were covering this on Friday's pre-WrestleMania show. It's been a simmering thing all weekend. Bill, you've had sources that have broken some big stories for us. That Edge story, we will talk about Edge versus Orton before we get off air tonight, because I know, Robert, you'd be very angry if we didn't. We will cover on all of that. But what is the future of WWE coming out of this? This is the biggest show of the year. People said they should have postponed it. I've told you why they didn't postpone it, because they don't know if they can get a football stadium in Tampa, where they've been advertising this thing, in 3 months, and who knows where we're going to be in 3 months. Or if we're even going to be able to have gatherings. Are you going to be able to have gatherings of 60,000 people, 1,000 people, 500 people? Who knows? All right. But right now, where we're at, this is WWE. The next show we know we're going to get is Monday Night Raw. We know they've already pre-taped episodes of NXT. We're getting the takeover matches over the course of the next few weeks. Bill, what's the latest on WWE taping any content beyond Monday? Because we don't know if they shot more. They advertised that we're going to get Money in the Bank on May 10th, but does WWE go into a rest period of just replaying the best stuff afterwards on their weekly TV shows? There's rumor and speculations, but rumor and speculations are not facts and confirmations.
Yeah, honestly, we really don't know. I know that there was a report earlier today or actually maybe tonight, but they were saying that WWE is going to try to tape SmackDown this week, so that would imply they don't have anything past NXT because NXT is already taped.
Yeah.
But they were saying that I think it was Dave Meltzer on Observer Radio that the source of the report is, but they're saying that they're going to try to tape SmackDown this week, and it's in one of the states that is under the stay-at-home order.
Okay.
You would immediately think it's Florida because they're at the PC. Why would anything change? But then there's also the speculation, like, well, could they do it at Stamford? Like, I don't know. I mean, they got this far. I feel like they should start planning on going on hiatus and stop worrying about, well, we need to air this week and put smiles on faces. Like, it's a great sentiment, but I mean, you're almost shooting yourself in the foot at one point where it's like, yeah. I mean, I think the ratings this week are going to be abysmal, no matter how good the show is. People are more worried about what's going on in their local community and staying at home, and whether you think it's credible or not. Like, people are worried about
one thing. It's one thing to give people WrestleMania. It's one thing to give people WrestleMania, the big event every year. It's another thing to say we're going to have Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and we're going to have crowds for them every single week while all this stuff is going on. So I mean, there's so much that's uncertain. So saying that we know something certainly right now is unready. Robert, what do you think they do if they do have to go into a rest period? What is that content like? Get in there, Robert.
I will get into this. Can you throw up the comment on screen from James Ross? You'll see it.
I'm trying to find it. What did he say here?
But I was going to say that's a very good point, because they
go
take
ahead,
pride.
Robert. What is it? I'm trying to find it. Go
ahead. He says AEW has shut down, according to Fightful, aka Robert. I did write that story. It's not according to me. It's according to Dave Meltzer. They taped weeks of television. So they taped all of the TNT title tournament and possibly even the finals. But everything going into Double or Nothing is in the can. Now, okay. WWE has always been their own breed of animal, and they can probably get away with just doing Raw, doing NXT, and we'll go from there, because maybe they just have promos in the can. We don't know how much they taped. We don't know how much they have going forward, and they have a lot of socials. They have a lot of outlets that you can continue booking stuff through social media if you really wanted to.
True. And there's a lot of companies that have been doing stuff like that. Variety, which is like, it's the industry trade of the independence of the entertainment industry this week, reported on how already network television is looking at how they can film TV shows without people together in the room together. How they can film a scripted sitcom over teleconferencing.
This is how you do the robots and the holograms. This is how this stuff starts.
It's about characters.
Guys,
it's about characters.
We are about to. I'm not even talking about characters, bro. I'm talking about we're about to enter a cyberpunk dystopia. It's gonna get super weird in like 2 months. This is it. This is how it starts.
We thought we were safe, but then they said they wanted to reboot The Office with no one actually together in the office, and that's what happened. Bill gives me the finger of that. Bill says, "You don't do that with The Office. Don't you dare! Don't you dare!"
Nobody wants that. I wanted to see. I saw a different comment on screen. I wanted to address it.
Sure, go ahead, Bill.
James brought up WWE taking pride in being the longest running show in whatever the exact verbiage is, but like we're the longest running non-scripted show.
We're the longest running weekly episodic television show in history.
Yes, that. And he asked, he's like, what do you think WWE is going to do about that? Because, like, what are they going to do? And
they're going to continue being the longest running weekly episodic show in history. I have no doubt that Raw keeps going, even if it's just taped stuff from whenever. They're going to keep going.
This question here from James Espanto, I want to get it on the screen here. This is worth noting. There has been reports within the sports media world of how other sports leagues are going to reference this situation and deal with it. Vince McMahon was on a conference call this past weekend with President Trump, but also with the heads of all the major sports leagues, including the NFL. Trump going on record saying he thinks there will be an NFL season starting in September as it normally would. WWE a part of those plans. There's been mixed reports about what the NBA could do to try and crown an NBA champion this summer, with a tournament of some kind being held either in one central location with all the teams like Las Vegas or potentially the Bahamas. James Espanto Fernando Pegajo. I can't be as loud as I can. I'm in the laundry room with other people. But I have to say this. Could they film more WWE television outside of the Performance Center in one of these locations that you talked about, Bill? Is everyone going to get a free trip to the Bahamas or the Virgin Islands here because they can film it on the beach or something?
I mean, as cool as that would be, I don't see that happening. Like, honestly, I feel like
how egregious would that be? How no, we're going into island territory just so we can go and film wrestling. Like that's pretty.
This is purely hypothetical. We're not saying they're actually doing this.
Like if Vince didn't take a bath on the XFL again, he probably would do it.
True, and also that's going to be expensive too. That's not going to be easy to get all those people there. The travel logistics of just getting everyone to the Performance Center all under this had to be crazy too. And you got to admit that there's probably a lot of people that didn't want to fly that drove down there. That chose to drive down there.
I mean, look at Edge.
Go to Hawaii. Hold on. Stephen Chambers says go to Hawaii. Hawaii's on lockdown. That's not happening.
All right. So let's get into this. Edge versus Orton, another big match that we got to talk on. In terms of emotions, this one was built up the best. The huge moment of Edge returning at Royal Rumble is definitely one of the biggest feel-good moments recently in wrestling. A guy that no one ever thought they would see in the ring. We reported it originally in January, and it's definitely one of the biggest stories of the year for us at WrestleZone. Edge is back in the ring with WWE at the Royal Rumble. We knew we were going to get a big match with him at WrestleMania, and it was Randy Orton, that snake man son of a bitch. Randy Orton attacked him and then attacked his wife. This is no groundbreaking new storytelling devices used here, but all the good stuff we like with two characters we have a lot of resonance with. And then we got this last man standing match. A lot of people online said it was kind of plotted, like it was kind of slow, and it may not have the same oomph because no fans. But as much as it was too long, it was a fight. It was a gnarly fight that maybe shows what we could be getting from Edge in the future. Edge is going to have to make physical changes with the way he wrestles now, coming back after a second major neck surgery. And this was a really violent match outside of the ring with unnatural surfaces and a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of guys moaning like they're passing a kidney stone. Edge won with a concerto and nearly cried when he finished the match. I thought that was, for me, one of the better moments of the weekend. It went too long, but that closing moment on top of a truck, whew, I thought that was fun.
They did some things. So Edge has been saying in all these interviews, and I've been reading them all, having to take them all down for work. I'm not going to do things that you've seen me do before. Yet here's this man who 3 months ago, it was unfathomable that he would even get in a ring, jumping off of ladders, taking big old chair bumps, jumping through tables. Like, it was a match, and yes, it did go a little long. But like I said, I think if you guys had a nice meal and you just sat down and watched it, it was about the length of a short movie. I thought it was good. It was a good fight.
It was over 30 minutes, I think.
It was about 45 minutes.
I think it was 36 and change.
Mm-hmm. Other people with solid takes in here. Saul Sultan saying Edge had the best comeback ever. So a lot of people with different takes here on how these things could go here. What's the next move for Edge now? He's defeated Orton. It doesn't seem like we're going to get more of Orton and Edge. I don't really think we need to. What do you do with Edge now?
You either A, immediately throw him in with Rollins, or B, he's winning that title tomorrow. All right, I'll throw this out there. Edge.
No. Go back to that.
Go back, Robert. Go back.
Edge
Rewind.
Edge can win the world title. I think you have a situation where you have no idea what's going on.
Oh, come on, Robert. I know you like Edge. Edge is your favorite wrestler.
No, I do.
No, come on. I'm calling you out on this, DeFelice. Edge is your favorite wrestler. Drew just had his moment, and or do you want to take the title off of him?
I'm not saying we're gonna just do it to screw Drew. I'm just saying we're here in this weird time. If it wasn't for WrestleZone breaking the story,
look at him. You see this, Bill? Look at him. He's using the circumstances. He's using a crisis to rebook his favorite wrestler to the top of the card.
If it wasn't for WrestleZone breaking the story,
Robert.
This was an uncharted thing for Edge to do. I think Edge is going to be.
Do you got?
I think Edge is going to be one of the focal points of tomorrow night. I do think it'll be Rollins, but I think we're getting Edge's next feud set up tomorrow. We're getting whatever McIntyre is going to do moving forward set up tomorrow. And we're getting Ronda. I'm going to throw that out there. I think the big surprise for Raw is Ronda. Because what else is there for Becky Lynch to do?
Another one. I can't even keep track of how many horsewomen there are, but I feel like
I think Marina and Jessamine aren't going to be.
Like the other two are going to get involved. But the only reason I'm going to say Ronda not yet is because of the travel restrictions and everything going on, because she has a family. And I feel like she's not going to risk traveling for, like, not to put it down, but, you know, it's a taped show at the WWE Performance Center. Like, if she comes back, it's going to be in front of a live audience. It's going to be this big thing. And I honestly think we're going to get another match with Shayna.
Mm-hmm. I can see that too. And I think this is a WrestleMania that doesn't end a lot of storylines, at least on the undercard. It'll continue them. I think we're getting more of Otis and Dolph, and that's not a resolved issue. I mean, Rollins got laid out by Kevin Owens. You could see that ending, but it wouldn't surprise me if they keep going. Certainly, Sasha and Bayley is a storyline that's going to keep going. It didn't feel like this was a culminating end to that at all. They more felt like a page turner. So I agree with that in some ways. Overall, I thought WWE exceeded expectations with no fans to deliver shows that felt like pay-per-views. That's what these are supposed to feel like when nothing feels like a TV show anymore. I thought the presentation was special both nights, and I thought they delivered. And I really thought the wrestlers stepped up in delivering on the stories. I think I have to admire what the wrestlers did, what the production staff did, what the creative team did. Is this the best WrestleMania ever? I don't think anyone's going to think of it that way.
Not the worst.
But yeah, exactly. I think you could put this in the pack as definitely one of the best WWE shows I've seen over the past few months. Both nights were really fun. It felt special. I felt like they paid off some storylines, or at least started some fresh new ones. And you got some big special moments from some stars that you really care about if you're a longtime fan. If you're a casual fan and you watch the show, I don't think you can walk away from it saying it sucked. If you're a hardcore fan and you want to walk away and say it sucked, you were probably going to say that anyway, but you're probably a fan that had a handful of things that you really liked this weekend and a handful of things you didn't. For me, thumbs up for this WrestleMania over 2 nights. I give it an 8 out of 10. What do you give it, Bill? Out of 10. 2 nights.
7.
7.
Yeah.
7.
I mean, I keep going back to there's 3 or 4 matches I really don't think should have been on the show, and I know they're trying to fill out 2 nights, but I already said 2 of them, the Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley match and Natalya Liv Morgan. Like, they didn't need to be on there. Elias and King Corbin didn't need to be on there, even though, you're going to have Corbin on your show because he's one of the, guys that get the best reactions. But, I mean, a solid 7 out of 10. The Boneyard match, the triple threat ladder match last night, those were solid. Tonight, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, Edge, Randy Orton, even though it dragged in the middle, it still started off hot and had a really good emotional ending, and I really enjoyed the last 2 matches. If you want to call Bray Wyatt and John Cena a match, if you don't, whatever, it was still fun. And Drew McIntyre winning with a finisher fest, whether you like that type of match or not, I did. And you still get, somebody getting that WrestleMania moment. So 7 out of 10.
Robert, I am curious about what you're going to rate. And something makes me think you're not going to be as kind to the shows as Bill and I were.
Well, you would be wrong because I'm right there with Bill. I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, 7 out of 10. All right. There you go.
Edge and Orton was a good match that delivered in unique circumstances. The Boneyard match stole my heart. Like, it was fantastic. It was the best Undertaker match I've seen since he lost the streak. I thought it was a good show. I think the best compliment we can give to this WrestleMania is it's in the Performance Center. There's no audience, and it's still not the worst WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah. But I think, and if that's the expectations they had to exceed and deliver on, they did it. And the billing of being the most unique, I thought, was delivered. The billing of big-time matches that are going to end these storylines we've been giving you on television. We're going to finish that commitment. That's true. But certainly, the other side of this is a lot blurrier than what we had going into it here. So I think as much as people want to be critical of WWE, even doing these shows, they delivered something fun this weekend. And if it's just to give you an escape from everything going on and all the bad news, it worked for me. I poured myself into work this weekend, and I felt better for doing it, and I didn't feel as depressed about what could happen tomorrow. And isn't that what entertainment's supposed to do anyway? So kudos to them.
Smiles on faces.
Exactly.
I'll say this was probably one of the less stressful WrestleManias I can remember as far as like what we do.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't worried about, like, last year, I'll say right off the bat, was a pain in the ass trying to navigate, like, Hoboken and wherever the hell else we were, like, just trying to bounce around, like, New York City.
And the show wasn't too long. The show wasn't long. It wasn't a 6.5 hour show.
Bill, I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just in general, like, the whole, like, the Collective and Ring of Honor, and, like, that's all fun. But doing it in New York City and New Jersey was not fun.
My brother's texted in. My brother loved it. He said delightful show, exceeded expectations by far both nights.
It's a nice breakfast.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, your brother is clearly living of a different standard. But he
watched WrestleMania from that palatial estate with money falling on his 5-star breakfast. I'm currently doing my job on top of a washer in a laundry room because the Wi-Fi is better in here. Okay.
I didn't even notice the money. I saw the food.
Yeah, I looked around at the food.
Because
He's
I've
right.
been
There
eating
is money
candy.
falling in that picture. Jesus.
Uh,
I loved not having to cover 50,000 shows this weekend, and I kind of hope that moving forward, we get less of that. Like, okay, we'll do a few gathering events, but it's not the, hey, there's 100 announced events for Tampa. Like, that was ridiculous, and I like
but
that.
that's also selfish, Robert. Robert, that's also like, I just don't want to have to tweet about everything. And I think
no,
the biggest thing,
I think
It's not even tweeting though. It's just
yeah.
Like I remember when they announced, I forget what show it was, but for WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, it was like, oh yeah, we're doing a Wednesday night show.
Hey, Andy. How we doing?
Andy just scared the crap out of me. This is Andy Milne, who does the WrestleZone theme song. If you want to... WrestleZone! Come on, Bill, you take the high part. WrestleZone! I gotta get my headset right. But you guys can check out Andy singing America the Beautiful. Since they didn't get Beyonce to do it this year, we got Andy. Bill, can we book Andy to do America the Beautiful next year for WrestleMania?
You can do it for Raw tomorrow.
But definitely,
actually, in between the second and third hour, we'll do like baseball does, and you can sing "God Bless America."
Yes, we'll do it. And he's gonna do the third hour Raw stretch. We're gonna have everyone stretch before the third hour Raw.
I'll make a song for it, I guess.
Yeah, check out the YouTube channel. It's Cool Boobs. Instead of zeros, instead of O's, it's zeros.
I like how Andy just walked in the room and now he's in this thing. And he's like,
I just gave him nails.
I needed nail clippers because I'm getting a little cracky here, and I had to do it. Thank you, Andy.
Of course, yeah.
We're shaking hands. We washed our hands, so I feel comfortable with that. We live together. I know. Yeah. Oh, we got to do elbows. You're right. We got to do bows. All right. So, thank you. You touched my head. That makes it even better. All right. Great. All the germs right there on my forehead.
Oh wait, I see a really good comment here.
What's that?
Are you excited for Yummy in the Bank?
oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God, it's time.
If WWE doesn't have a pay-per-view,
Yes.
we're going to have like some of that Ethan Page thunder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Robert, tell them about Yummy in the Bank, the premier fast food, drive-through window, no contact service wrestling event. You can go to this event. There will be no physical combatants at this event. You don't have to feel shame watching wrestlers in the ring because they're all virtual fast food mascots. We will give you Yummy in the Bank. We did it. We did the Royal Rumble. Huge hit. All right. And Robert is stressed out already because he's the one who has to create all this. Tell him what it is.
First of all, I can't believe we're already here. It's been a year since Yummy in the Bank won. But yes, Yummy in the Bank, 6 fast food mascots, maybe 8. I don't know what the game allows for right now, but we're going to have a bunch of fast food mascots. They're going to climb ladders. They're going to grab a brown bag special. And in that brown bag special will be one Happy Meal toy, good for a redeemable championship match against the incumbent champion, who right now is the Grimace. And here's the thing with Grimace is he's going to have to face the gobbledygooker at Yummy in the Bank to defend that championship. You thought I forgot about that. Didn't forget. It's happening. Yummy in the Bank.
Bill, we're booking a territory.
May 10th.
We're booking the territory, baby.
May 10th, weekend of Money in the Bank. Whether they do it or not, we're doing it because you need food. Food is an essential service, and so is fun. Let's go.
We're doing it. We'll figure out the date. We'll stream it. We'll do it on the good WWE 2K game, and it'll be really, really fun. So if you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, or the podcast, look out for that. We'll give you more details and episodes coming up. And of course, tomorrow, WZ March Mania. Don't forget to vote on that on our Twitter and our Instagram feed. Some great things. Speaking of all the things we're adding, Bill, I love this show that we just launched. Danny Cage from the Monster Factory has been a good friend of WrestleZone for many years. He's one of the most premier trainers in all of wrestling. He has talented wrestlers in AEW and NXT all over the world. He's joined us on a new podcast with Dominic D'Angelo called The Double D and DC Show. It's in the podcast feed. We also have exclusive interviews in there with Chris Jericho, Seth Rollins, Lacey Evans, and so many more, all available in the WrestleZone radio podcast feed. Any big scoops you think dropping on the website tomorrow, Bill? We're going to have some big news coming out of WrestleMania.
We will have an interview with Brian Pillman Jr. that should be out tomorrow. A new episode of the... I'm going to get this wrong right now. DCDDWZ show. I'll have another feature from our Best from the Business. I'll have another interview up, and I'll confirm it later this week, but we have another potential interview in the bag. So, nothing. I don't want to
scooping
I don't want to say nothing major, but like I don't also want to be like, yo, we have this interview, and
it's yeah.
You know how I am.
Well, I can tell you I was supposed to interview someone from WWE last week, but obviously they aren't touring, so they didn't come to Chicago. And so
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that was supposed to happen. I'm not going to tell you who it was because it was just gave the clue away there, Bill. Hey, who knows
what the one I had over the summer that you know about.
Yeah, what?
It's not as bad as the one I had over the summer that you know about.
Oh, yeah, I know that one. So that one fell through, yeah.
I skipped the bachelor party for an interview that didn't happen.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, that was brutal. All right, so I just want to say it's WrestleMania. It's a huge weekend. It may not be the same WrestleMania, but I want to thank all the people that follow WrestleZone on all of our social media feeds, that subscribe to the WrestleZone radio podcast feed, that watch us here, that read our website. You have a lot of options. You have a lot of options for wrestling media. You could go anywhere, but you went here, and we appreciate it. Bill is a guy who works hard from home. Robert is a guy who works hard from home. I'm working from home. Maybe you are too. If wrestling this weekend gave you some escape, then great. Then we did our job. Thank you for supporting what we do. Thank you for supporting WrestleZone. And Robert, when they watch wrestling, we get all stressed out. What do they need to do when they watch wrestling?
Kevin's just going to shortchange me here. I also have plugs. Here's the fact. The fact is, if you're clicking around on other wrestling websites, I'm probably there. Check out Fightful. Check out Fightful Select. I'm everywhere. You know, there's going to be a lot of news breaking. There's going to be a lot of scoops. Wrestling is crazy, but most importantly, wrestling is fun. So when you're watching wrestling, you just need to sit back, relax, and enjoy wrestling.
Goodness.